Hey guys, how's it going? So, there has been so many videos I've wanted to make, and I haven't had any time to sit down and film them from the move and everything like that. What's going on here? Um, I So I'm trying to sit down and kind of film a few because I've had a lot of things that have been like moving and that I've hauled, and I have thrifted a couple books on herbs and food and other things like gardening, so I wanted to share that with you guys. And also I had planned on making like a really cute little like Dollar Tree book haul, but it was really only just a couple books. Even though I know that that would probably be maybe more helpful because everyone has a Dollar Tree and you can keep an eye out for those books. But maybe I will just try to post those on my Instagram. One of those I am including in this video though, because it does talk about food and GMO and other things like that I thought was kind of interesting, and they're actually some really great books. So keep an eye out for that on my Instagram for a few of the other books that I've found, because I found some really great ones. Usually I don't put too much stock into the Dollar Tree book section, but the last couple times I visited, I've actually found some really amazing, like groundbreaking, informative type books, which I thought was really great. But this is more of like a thrift haul to Goodwill, because I didn't want to previously get any herbal books or gardening things and then have to bring them up here, and I figured there would be better stuff up here for that kind of stuff anyway. So let me just start off with one of the books. I hope this is the right way for you guys. I don't know if it is, but if not, this is the Herb Bible. A lot of these are older books, but the majority of the information is usually still pretty good and reliable, so I thought I would pick it up anyway. Let's see when this book was published. I'm pretty sure it was like the early 90s, if I'm correct, 92. So we have this one, and apparently it was written by America's #1 vitamin and nutrition expert, explaining the new and easy to use herbal remedies available today and how they can improve the way we work, play, sleep, feel, and heal, which kind of sounds really gimmicky and cute, but lots of really great information, and I've been kind of skimming through it. It's got lots of stuff in here. We've got passion flower and papaya. It talks about onions, olive, nettle. All of these are such mullein. All of these milk thistle are so good. Marshmallow, longwort, which I don't know what that is, but there's a few in here that I'm actually surprised I've never heard of, which isn't surprising because I don't know that much about herbal anything right now. I'm really just getting into learning. This is completely new to me. I've never been able to really sit down and garden like I'm going to be able to, so I'm super excited. I'm just trying to eat up all the information that I can. So this is a fabulous book. If I'm sure it's something you can find on Thrift Books or Amazon or something like that. Amazing. I highly recommend that book. It looks incredible. This is the PDR, Family Guide to Natural Medicine and Healing Therapy. So this has more than just herbs. It does have it really is A to Z on not only herbs and foods, but here it like lists massage therapy, resources, magnetic field therapy, which is fantastic. So it kind of gives you a little bit about everything: light therapy, juicing, hypnotherapy. I mean, it really is. This is more of kind of like the A to Z guide on just anything for the body, natural healing that there is. This was published in, I'm sure that this was published in the 90s also. It's looking like 1998, I think. So this is also quite amazing. We have like Chinese foxglove root, which I think foxglove is poisonous, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. So just be cautious. If you are also trying to learn about herbs and things, there are things that people have used that are, you know, in large amounts also poisonous. So just that's why I'm taking my time, and I am just trying to gather as much information as possible. I'm hoping to be able to grab an herbalism course pretty soon, because I really like, I'm the kind of person that when I want to know about stuff, I full on jump into it. I want to know everything there is to know about it. I am just that kind of person. This is one of the Dollar Tree books that I was talking about, and so this is a buck. This is a buck, and this book was originally $26, probably more than that when it first came out, maybe, but at least that's what it was listed that it was selling for. Food Fight, GMOs, and the Future of American Diet, which this is fascinating to me. I know corn specifically is completely genetically modified at this point. There's really only, like, I think from a documentary I watched a while ago, there's really only 4 different strains of corn, which is kind of scary when you think about pandemics and things like that, but hopefully that will never happen. And so this should be fantastic. It's gonna go across the question of safety of GMOs. Let's see, what do we have here in the contents? Whenever I'm picking up a book, the thing I always read is just kind of like this blurb. Sorry, that's so overexposed. This blurb here usually, and then I go into the contents of the book immediately, just to see the best rundown of what they have to offer in the book. And we go from roots, seeds, and feeding the world, the farm next door. So and then an epilogue of getting our hands dirty. So I have a feeling this book is going to recommend that we start growing our own food, which is kind of seems like a no-brainer, but apparently not. One of the coolest things I'm excited to do is figure out how to pallet grow vertical. The yard that we're gonna have, it's a fairly large yard. It's not like tiny by any means, but it's still not as much as I would love to have to be able to grow as much food as I would want. So that's one of the things I'm going to be focusing on, is stuff that's smaller, like leafy greens, things that don't need to take up a lot of space. I'm going to try to go up. Lots of herbs, you can kind of keep them small usually if you cut them back percent. So all of those things are hopefully going to be able to through cool palette stuff that I've seen on Pinterest. Pinterest is your best friend. Oh, and this is really the book that I have been the most excited about that I found at one of the Goodwills. It's Randall's Illustrated Encyclopedia of Herbs. This is amazing. This is not just specifically for herbalism, but it also talks about cooking and companion cooking with like different herbs and things that will taste good, growing conditions. It really gives you, so it's got chef tips, growing conditions. It gives you kind of like a look at the weather, cultivation, planning, companion planting, which is super important. Gives you description, and it basically gives you some of the zones that it will do the best in, the kind of alkalinity that it needs, the type of soil, like whether it needs to stay more dry, wet, sun, no sun, and those are kind of the majority of the things. Let's see, it does give you some uses. If there's medical uses, usually it'll kind of mention a few of those. Some history on some. I don't think it goes through the history on every single plant, but it looks like ginseng it does. And yeah, ginseng actually has a pretty large portion, which I'm kind of surprised. Yeah, just looking through here, there's lots of great in winterizing. So there's kind of a few random little pockets in here where it talks about overall conditions of gardening and drying herbs and pests and harvesting and storage. And I mean, this This is literally, it does have a few pictures in here that are kind of all bunched together. So they don't usually necessarily, they've got a healing with herbs section. So the sections are kind of scattered throughout the book that are more like informative overall of gardening and herbal remedies and such. Because, and then we do have some herbal botany. So a few of these are some sections I haven't seen yet, which are so amazing. I'm so excited. House plants. Then we go into some more stuff. Hyssop, lemon balm, amazing. I cannot wait to grow me some lemon balm. I hope that will grow out here. Look at how beautiful all of those plants are. One of my main focuses is I really want to create not only like a backyard garden, but like a landscaped food herb garden. Like, does that make sense? So I want it to be a part of the landscape where people would normally put in like typical shrubbery and just random plants. You know, I want to have like blackberries and jasmine and all kinds of other really useful, gorgeous things growing that will make the yard look amazing, but also that's going to be super useful. I think that's one of the downfalls that us in America have, is not everything that we do is always useful, practical, or helpful, and that needs to change. Then this is a Better Homes and Gardens book on gardening, the complete guide to gardening, Better Homes and Gardens. It looks, this I actually haven't even had a chance to look, but it does go into all types of gardening. It's not just edible trees and shrubs. Looks like it's got lots of how to garden from cuttings, paving. So it's got, you know, like design elements in here of how you can go about designing things. And then it has an entire kind of like cyclopedia section here of flowers and all types of plants, annuals, bulbs, growing small fruits, harvesting and storing vegetables. One of the other things I need to, and I am probably gonna have to spring for one of these books since I don't think this is something to be able to thrift, but that it would be cool if I could, is a ball book for canning. I just recently found a pretty amazing channel, I think, that talks about canning, and I think she has a course coming up. I wish I could jump in on the one that's about to happen, because that would be amazing, because canning is something that I've been super interested in. And if you're gonna garden and you are probably gonna think you might produce more than you can actually eat at a time, then I think canning would probably be fantastic. Or some other things I'm looking into is a dehydrator. My ultimate dream would be to have a freeze dryer, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon because those are really expensive. But a girl can dream, right? So I am loving this book. This is amazing. I love the fact that we can get amazing used books, super cheap, that are just so incredibly knowledgeable and amazing. So I feel like I've seen this book before, long time ago, probably. I don't know if maybe it was something else and maybe they have a line of different books, but this is Prescription for Herbal Healing, and this is the second edition. Totally revised and updated. An easy to use A to Z reference to hundreds of common disorders and their herbal remedies. Best-selling author of Prescription for Nutritional Healing, 5th edition, more than 8 million copies sold. So that is fantastic. I do have a few other like food prescription type books and things like that. I do have a lot of Dr. Wells books and other things. This looks like it's kind of an A to Z. Also, we have turmeric. Let's see, how is this one? Insect bites. Let's see how this is kind of cataloged. I think with the way books are cataloged, it makes a difference. Typically, there's the majority, like when you're thinking like reference books wise, because I love reference books, those are my favorite kind of books. You're typically looking at either an A to Z guide or you're looking at per ailment. So it's still kind of an A to Z guide, but when you're looking at the like purpose oriented versus like the product oriented. So, you know, and I think it's really nice to have a variation of both, because sometimes, like, let's say, you know, chamomile, you're like, okay, what are all the different things chamomile can do? And you want to just look at chamomile because that's what you have, that's what you've grown, and you want to figure out what can you do with it. And that's amazing. And then there's other ones where it's like, you know, it talks about conditions, which you have to be really careful about. And that is what this one looks like it is it's condition oriented. So it will link, it has listed all of the different herbal remedies for each condition, because that's how the contents is listed. It is literally just a gigantic list of basically any ailment or things that you could ever think of. And then it says it has recommendations, considerations, talks a lot about the normal health for different things that you should consider. So it's not just a you know, if you have XYZ going on, use this. There's a lot of other links like vitamin things, omega things to consider about some of these ailments, which I think is super important, because you don't always want to throw a natural remedy at something that you have going on. I think it's really important. You have to really look at all sides of the, you know, when you're wanting to use things for things that you got going on, which I hope you know what I'm talking about, because I am obviously a super great communicator. Let's finish off with that book. And this is this is one of the last books. I did haul one or two gardening books at the very end before I left, that are kind of like similar to this. One of them is like a Western gardening book. This is by Black & Decker. Outdoor Home, Vegetable Gardening, Your Ultimate Guide. So this book is a little bit mangled, but it's definitely had some warping from moisture. Moisture here is a huge problem, and my hair, as you can tell, does not like it. So here we have, not entirely sure, I got this one, I wasn't entirely sure how useful this was going to be. Oh, somebody's mail. Let's see. When was this published? I'm sure this was published in the copyright 2000. Really? This looks like a book that might have been like published in the 80s, but it is not. So let's find out what information we've got here. So it goes over great vegetable gardens, introduction to vegetables, gardening basics, climate and gardens, planning, planting, caring for, pests, harvesting. Basically all of the really important things that you need to know if you're going to start gardening. And I'm glad that a few of these talk about companion planting. I assume this one probably will as well. Companion planting is something that's also super important. There are things that like to grow together and things that don't like to grow together. So I hope this video hasn't been insanely boring. I just thought that these are literally, I never find books, or at least I didn't used to ever find books on gardening or herbal stuff, and I have been super excited to see those, and I am so sorry that this video and my next video are so stinking long, but I thought it would be great to kind of talk about these books, so that way you can find something that's comparable, or you can look online. They're probably not super expensive, again, even online, because they're fairly older books. All of these are from basically right around the 90s. But of course, you know, you can find things that are super up to date for probably not much more than you would buy a new one for. So Let me know down below if you guys have ride or die herbal / gardening books that you love, and I hope you kind of enjoyed this extremely long thrifty herbal garden book haul. So see you guys next time.